Oyster Bay Brut, a wonderful New Zealand wine, except it's not. This is a homemade product that I found stashed away in the corner over here. Completely forgot it was there. I think it's wine made out of Feijoas. If it is, I've got 3 bottles of it. Let's make some fortified Feijoa wine. How's it going, chasers? I hope you're having a kick-ass week. I'm Jesse, and this is still at the channel, all about chasing the craft of home distillation and making it a legitimate hobby. I have no idea if this is going to go all over the place. Oh no, okay, there we go. Hey, it's Feijoa wine. Well, that actually smells really good. Like I said, I had forgotten that this stuff was even here. So this is quite old now, and I'm just taking a little sample of it to see if it tastes any good. But if it does, obviously this video is not going to be about making the Feijoa wine, because this is from some time ago. Respect to the people that need respect for this. Can't say much more about it than that, but respect. Oh yeah, it's still really nice. Okay, fresh Feijoa flavour too, which often gets lost in products like these. A lot of the people around New Zealand, a lot of people in the New Zealand forum and Facebook groups and stuff have said that Feijoas can be pretty hard to work with, and it's hard to get nice flavour out of it. So instead of straight up making a Feijoa spirit, I'm going to do a fortified wine. So all a fortified wine is you take a wine and you increase the ABV with a spirit. So port, sherry, things like that are all fortified wines. And in this case, we're going to take the spirit from the wine itself and fortify it back into itself, if that makes sense. So I've got 3 bottles of this. I'm going to reserve, ratios. I think I'm going to reserve about half a bottle. Do the other 2.5 bottles, so that'll give me, what's that? Just under 2 litres. I'll distill that and we'll add it all back together. That is the plan, and hopefully we'll end up with something quite tasty here. Now to do this, I'm going to use the little mini pot still. You guys have seen a fair bit of this lately, actually. You know how I get it set up. So I think we can cut through that stuff and we'll jump over to the little mini pot still, which I can use outside today because it is a beautiful day here in New Zealand. It is boozy. It's definitely over 10%. I would say closer to 15. If I had to guess, I would say 13.5% would be my guess. And it's actually still kind of sweet too. So I think this is going to have a lovely body. A lovely body as a fortified wine. All right, team. The pot is currently heating up at the moment. But I've just realized that there's probably a pretty good chance that there's a bunch of people out there that have never tasted a Feijoa. I'm going to need a seat for this. Let's... Alright guys, Feijoa. Now, I don't actually have any fresh Feijoa here to show you, which is a little bit of a shame, but there are these guys over here, little green football-shaped fruit that are definitely not guava, although they are known as a pineapple guava, not a guava, or a guavastine, not a guava. They're kind of New Zealand's most sort of socialist fruit. And what I mean by that is everywhere in New Zealand when these things are in season, people are just trying to get rid of them. They're all over the place. They fruit prolifically and people just can't get rid of them enough. So we're not on that on. And unfortunately, I did hear a lot of other distillers saying they're really hard to work with. So I'm interested to see how this works out. What do these things taste like? Man, they're really difficult to describe. I mean, I did some looking around on the internet, and the closest I could come up with was guava, pineapple, and strawberry smushed together. And yeah, I get why people are using those descriptors, but no, it doesn't taste anything like that. It's a really interesting fruit, man. Kind of almost tangy, bitey, seedy thing going on at the back end of their taste. They're absolutely brilliant. Anyway, that's what we're doing today, guys. And now that I've been sitting here blabbing, I can smell something starting to happen over on the still. I think we're almost ready for first drips. All right, team, we're up and running now. I've taken probably, I don't know, 20 mils off the top end there. We're just gonna absolutely discount that. It is pretty jaggy, but keep in mind that this is a fruit run. So taking the great advice of both Neven and Ilias that I've talked to in the past, I'll link podcast episodes down in the description below. We're gonna be hunting for flavor more probably in the heads on this one, I'm gonna guess, than on the tails, but we'll see as we go. Yeah, there's quite a lot of Feijoa flavor in that already. Actually, I'm gonna switch that over again now because I'm borderline thinking that I might almost be keeping this. Yeah, so interestingly enough, exactly pretty much at the time where the heads really started cleaning up and the spirit started becoming clean in terms of not being so jaggy and you know, aggressive on your tongue, that was exactly the moment where almost all of the Feijoa flavor has disappeared. So now it almost just tastes kind of empty. There's not a lot there. So I'll be interested to see what happens further on down the track, if we get anything closer to the tails, anywhere else during the run where flavor pops up. But I'm very glad that I reserved some of that wine, you know, to blend these two things back together. All right, team, so we're into our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th little cuts jar, and I'm taking tiny little cuts because there's really not a lot in this pot. Now, so we went through the full-on heads with quite a lot of Feijoa flavor, which is a pity, to a transition between heads to clean spirit, but also a transition to a relatively empty flavor profile. Now we're heading back down towards tails, and I'm almost getting a guava strawberry thing going on rather than the tangy, bitey thing that I think of when I think of Feijoa. So we're going to run a little bit longer, but it is also starting to be just a little bit almost soapy. So I think we're going to have to call it quits soon. I'll see you in the shed shortly, and we can blend this together and see how it's turned out as a fortified Feijoa wine. Here we are, the moment of truth. To recap, this is not the absolute 4 shots, I guess you'd call them. I ditched those. Heads through to tails here. Super jaggy, smells like paint thinner, but does smell like Feijoa too. By here, that absolute smell of heads is gone. It smells delicious. I would love to just drink this based on smell, but I know the prickle is real on that one. This one is cleaned up, and now that I've got it here, and now that I'm kind of away from it, I guess, and not comparing it directly to that, there is some Feijoa in it, but very, very little. This one's pretty similar. Here's where we start to change things up and we head back towards that guava sort of thing. After this, right after I shot that last little bit, it just went really soapy and I gave up. So normally I would tincture this and sort of do a test, but I've got so little to play with. There we go. But yeah, I've got so little to play with that I'm just gonna shoot from the hip on this one, guys. Now, I'm guessing that there was some natural fermentation in these bottles as well, because there was some chunky yeasty stuff going on in the bottom. I might reserve just the last little bit. Yeah, I can see it in the neck of the bottle. I'll leave that out. And we're definitely going with this. We're definitely going with this. And I'm gonna say we'll go with half of this for now. And let's taste. It's kind of nice just to throw things in a jar and not stress about it, to be perfectly honest with you. Man, I don't even have a syringe or a... Alright, we're going dirty style. It smells great. It smells like the original wine, funnily enough. Interesting. Okay, so it's still sweet. It's still Feijoa-y. But now the ABV's been pushed up enough that it's starting to cut through that sweetness just a little bit. In some ways, I think we're kind of sitting in a a bit of a plateau here. I think it either needs to be sweeter and more more desserty, kind of like a, you know, like a port you'd sit down and have after dinner, or I think it needs to go higher ABV and punch through that sort of no man's land from one to the other. I can't help myself, guys. I'm going to do a little test here. Oh yeah, it's better like that. 100% better like that. I'm going to do just a driblet of that. And the reason I'm doing that is because I know that's a little headsy and I know it's a little harsh, but that's going to give the impression of bumping the ABV up. It's going to balance out with that sugar even more. And what I need now is, I think, a really, really light wood aging on this. I'm thinking French oak, toasted but not charred is what I'm going to go with. And I'll probably only leave it in there for, I'll check it regularly to see. So I need to say, while I'm stirring this up and letting it sit just for another minute or two, cheers guys. I need to say a huge, huge thank you to these people over here, the Patreons. It is pretty cool that I get to mess around with stuff like this at home and provide for the family at the same time. So thank you so much, Patreons, for giving me a budget to be able to do stuff like this, to make this my full-time job. Thank you. I can't say it enough. Thank you. If you out there in internet land are finding value in these kinds of videos and you'd like to help contribute directly to the channel, you can go to chasethecraft.com/support to find out all the different ways that you can help out, including one of them, if it's right for you, Patreon. I'm back and I've got wood, little thin, short wood. But I'm thinking that this is going to be perfect. It is, in fact, US oak, not French oak. I think I'd still prefer the French oak, but this has been toasted in the oven for, I think it was 2 hours at 200 degrees Celsius. So it isn't charred, and I'm not going to char it, but it has been toasted. So I'm going to whack that in. And while I say goodbye to you guys, I'm going to steal, come on Jesse, get an actual drink's worth, or a half drink's worth at least. To summarize, guys, yeah, I get why people say that Feijoa kind of sucks to work with. And in doing this, I think I have lost some of the Feijoa flavor that was in just the wine. The wine was very enjoyable as is, but you know, we distill things around here. This is quite nice, and I have a sneaky hunch that a little bit of wood and a little bit of time is going to bring more flavor out in this than I knew was there to start with. So anyway, guys, this has been a blast. I love doing things like this fly by seat of the pants sometimes because I tend to not do this sort of thing. So this was fun. Thanks to Bearded on Board for jogging my mind that I had this stuff sitting around here. Cheers, bro. So guys, if you did enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate that a whole lot. If you're into this sort of stuff and you want to see more of it, please guys, subscribe. That helps me out a whole lot. And I'll catch you next time, guys. Keep on chasing the craft. See ya.